And last but not least, the New York City primary elections, specifically the mayoral race here in New York City, which I spoke about before, and the first time that we were using citywide ranked choice voting. As predicted by some, including myself, I believe it was a shit show after the elections, where the numbers being projected by the Board of Elections in terms of votes that were cast were incorrect, as if we needed something else to undermine the integrity of our elections. This is yet another thing that is undoubtedly going to leave a nasty taste in the mouth of skeptical folks that just think all elections are rigged and what's the point of voting, etc., etc. At least this one they kind of sort of easily explained by stating that they put out the election results based on the votes that were actually tabulated, but also they mixed in test ballots that were used for testing purposes within the count of real votes. And that artificially inflated some candidates over others. Like for the first night or two, I believe Maya Wiley thought she was in second place and she wasn't. Then Catherine Garcia was. Then once that was sorted out and everything was all said and done, Andrew Yang, my guy, Yang Gang, the person that received my first choice vote, was definitely out by the first night or second night. I think it was clear. And he conceded the race to the ultimate winner, my second choice, and most likely future mayor of New York City, Eric Adams. Now, I say most likely because this is the primary election, right? After the primary election, you have a general election. Within the primary election, it is an election within your own party to see who from your party, the Democratic Party or the Republican Party, is going to run against the other party for the seat. So this was all Democrats running against each other in the primary election, and then you had a separate election with all Republicans running against each other to see who's going to represent the Republican Party. In New York, since it's a blue state, and this is why I say most likely, any Democrat going against any Republican, usually 9 times out of 10, the Democrat is going to win because it's a blue state and there's so many more Democratic voters than Republican voters, especially citywide. You have certain pockets which are still like red, but again, citywide, and those pockets are more reflected in like assembly seats and city council seats, etc., congressional seats even, but citywide, the blue candidate is going to win 9 times out of 10. And Eric Adams was, for those of you who don't know, a retired police officer. I think he was a detective or a lieutenant or something in law enforcement. And after that, and he's been serving as such, he's been in politics, and his most recent seat held while he was running for mayor was Brooklyn Borough President. On the Republican side, he's going against, for the general election, Curtis Sliwa, which for those of you who don't know, Curtis Sliwa, he was like a pundit in New York One. He has like a radio show. He was also the founder of the Guardian Angels, which for those of you who don't know, which is something that I believe predates me when they were like really a thing. But I remember like hearing it when I was a kid. And this pretty much non-armed group of vigilantes that like fight crime and try to like deter crime and stuff like that and keep people safe, like in subways and stuff like that. And it was just like a picture, like a neighborhood watch with guys with like jackets and like red berets, and that would apparently just like fuck people up if they were like doing crime and stuff. But they're not like cops or anything. He was the creator of that group. And you know what? Eric Adams, I'm not mad at it. He was my second choice. He's been in politics. He's been in law enforcement. He is more of a centrist Democrat, which those of you who know me or follow this podcast, I'm a liberal on most things, but I'm more center. I try to find like the compromise and shit, listen to both sides. I think we could use a little of that plus a little of this, not just like purely idealistic on one side, no matter what, or I believe in this because this is what my quote unquote side believes in. I'm more of like an issue per issue type of person. And then when you break down the issues per issues, on more of those issues than not, I'm on the liberal side of things. But I'm very, again, gray in my thinking. It's not black or white. There's nuance. There's, shit in the middle. So candidates that are more center, both on the right and left, are the ones that appeal to me most. And I think now in a time where like crime is going up, violent crime is going up, gun shootings and stuff like that here, specifically within New York City, is going up. You need somebody who is going to be tough on crime, but not Bloomberg, stop and frisk, target black and brown people, tough on crime. You're going to need someone who's going to be tough on crime, but also not shun the idealistic approaches to considering social work, considering neighborhood policing, while not taking like the Bill de Blasio type of approach of not letting cops, good police, do their jobs. Because at the end of the day, we all want to be safe in our neighborhoods, right? We all want our kids to be safe when they go to schools, when they're outside playing. Fucking the other day here near me in somewhere in Richmond Hill, there was like and this video like went viral. I'm sure many of you have seen it, but there was like a guy came out of a car, and there was like a mom walking with her like 2 or 3 kids, and he parked the car, came out, just ran and like grabbed the kid from the sidewalk and threw him in his car, and was like about to like kidnap her kid, and she like ran and like fought through the window and like they were able to like pull the kid out, thankfully. But when you like see shit like that happening, and like I'm sure you guys have seen like the shootings and like Times Square in the middle of the fucking day, and that other shooting, a bunch of shootings in the Bronx, but that other shooting where the guy was like running from the other guy, and the guy ran in front of or like there was these like kids there in the way, and they all like fell while the guy was running, and the guy was trying to like shoot around the kids. Like, what the fuck, man? Like knuckleheads and pieces of shit like that, we gotta clean that shit up. Black, brown, white, whatever. Hispanic, Chinese, whatever the fuck they are, it doesn't matter. And Eric Adams, with the background that he has as a police officer and also a centrist type of politician, I think had a good shot at approaching and tackling those issues without being too one-sided one way or the other. But we shall see.